Okay. So, a couple of things. You guys have a quiz coming up in 1 week. So let's take care of the housekeeping stuff. You have a quiz. Your quiz is in 1 week. So that's going to make it September 30th. All right, now, what's it going to be on? Well, first of all, it's going to be about 20, maybe 21 questions. I might do like 20 and a bonus or something like that. What else? It's going to cover all 3 days of logic. So the first day was on symbols to words. The second day was on converse, inverse, contrapositive. And the third day is today, and that is going to be on the laws of logic. All right, now, if you've done your homework, you should be just fine, okay? So if you haven't done your homework, you need to do it. If you need extra time with me after school, just come by. You know, the link is on my Canvas page. I'm there every day until 3:30. You know, right after classes. So you know, at the end of 6th or 7th block, you guys come on down and get the extra help that you need. It's not a problem. Okay, that's what I'm there for. All right. I will be so a couple of other pieces of that will be, first of all the videos will be posted today. I've got office hours. I will be having a review next class. And then the test or quiz, whatever you want to call it, like I said, is going to be next Wednesday. And what's going to happen is I'm going to email you your test at the start of class. Then you're going to put your answers in an email. And then at the end of the quiz, when the quiz is over, then you're going to send your email. Late emails will not be accepted. Okay, so everybody knows we've got a quiz next week on the 3 topics of logic that we've covered. And you know how you're going to take your quiz, okay? All right. So let's get into the laws of logic, people. All right. Okay, so the laws of logic. There are 3 laws of logic. So just like we did with the converse, inverse, and contrapositive, we're going to organize it like this, okay? Now, first, before we even do the laws of logic, there's one piece that I want to bring up from the other day because it's going to be important as we do these, okay? Do you remember when we made the grid last time, but it wasn't for the laws of logic, it was for the conditional, the converse, the inverse, and the contrapositive? Do you guys remember that? Okay. Well, and I'm gonna make one really quickly so I can scribble all over. You don't have to copy this. This is just to remind you what it looked like. I had said that these two were the same. They said the same idea, and these two said the same thing. These two were true, and these two were false. You guys remember when we wrote about all that? Hopefully you have it in your notes, because on today's homework, there's a question that relates to this, and if you don't have that grid from the other day, then you won't know how to answer it. But it's this one down here I want to talk about for just a few minutes. This one is the contrapositive. And the contrapositive is a true sentence, okay? And so sometimes you can take a sentence from here and you can make it into the contrapositive. And well, that is another way of saying the same idea. So what I wanted to do just for a few minutes, I wanted to do some examples of other ways to write a sentence that mean the same thing, and we use the contrapositive. For example, if I practice, I will win. So here we have a normal if-then statement, okay? There's actually a then in there. Even though we don't often write that then, it's there, okay? What we can do is we can take this sentence and write the contrapositive. Can anybody suggest what the contrapositive would look like? What would it say?
If I will not win, I will not practice.
That's right. Excellent. So, and I'm not really worried about the grammar so much, as long as the idea is there, like whether or not you say it in the present tense or the past tense or the future tense. I don't care, as long as you've done the right thing. You've taken the two pieces, you flip them around, and then you make them negative. Okay. So, what would this next sentence be? Uh, if I can. Um, if I can, then so how do I say this in a different way that's still true? Yes, Allison, if I'm writing it down, you're writing it down. How do I rewrite this in a different way so that it says the same idea but in a different way? use the contrapositive. What would the contrapositive of this sentence be?
If I will go, then I cannot.
Right, because this is already a negative. So when you bring it over here, it becomes a positive. And this comes over and becomes a negative. You see, you switch their places and you change their signs. You see, that's the contrapositive. They change positions and change signs. And sometimes we need that, especially when you do your homework tonight. All right. So this was just kind of a reminder that there are different ways of saying things and that they're still okay. All right, so let's go back to the laws of logic because that's where we're on today. So this is the law of syllogism. And we're going to do lots of examples, okay? Then, so right now what I'm going to write down isn't going to make any sense, but in a minute we're going to simply understand how it works. So we have A implies B, and we also have B implies C. Therefore, and this is the answer, like these two parts will be given to you, and you're going to write the answer. And the answer will be A implies C. All right. So just copy that down, and then we'll do lots of examples to make sense of it. Give me a thumbs up when you're done copying. Or a hand raised or whatever. Okay. You ready? Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, so hold on to this. We'll be coming back to fill in the other stuff. So just in a minute, we'll deal with that. Okay. So, syllogism. Syllogism always looks the same. It's got two if-thens. Okay, so all right. So this is how it would begin. This is what the problem would look like. And your job is to write a conclusion. Now, what it's basically talking about here is like a flow of information. Like, first, let me ask you this. We got some things going on here. We've got getting wet, raining, and getting a cold. Wet pops up two places. Of these things, wet, rains, and cold, which one happens first? Do you get wet and then it rains? Does it get cold and then you get wet? I mean, which one of the four of these things happens first?
Rain.
The rain
Cold.
happens first. All right. So that's the very first thing, action, right? Then what is the last thing that happens?
Cold.
You get a cold. Okay. That's how you do it. The answer is, therefore, if it rains, then I get a cold. That's your answer. Now let's think about it in symbols, okay? This is we're going to give that an A, and that's a B. And we've got an if then, so we've got an arrow. Now, the next sentence, you getting wet, we already know what getting wet is. Getting wet is a B, so we're going to use the same B. We've got an if then, so we've got an arrow. And getting a cold, we haven't seen that one yet, so we're going to give that a new letter, and that'll be C. Now, what's happening is that we've got these things happening like 1, 2, 3. Rain first, then wet, and then cold. So you can kind of think about it like A goes to B, and then B goes to C. Well, we don't need the middle bit. That's the idea, is that we get rid of it, and our answer is just the first thing and the last thing. That's the whole takeaway. You want the first thing and then the last thing, and that's your conclusion. By the way, this is a great place for people to make a mistake. They forget the word therefore. Please, please, please don't forget therefore. Okay, remember that's the symbol of the triple dots. Okay, so that would be your answer. Therefore, A implies C. Okay, let's do some more. Where did my stack of papers go? All right. All right. All right. So, before we go anywhere, we write the word therefore. You know it's got to be there. You might as well start with it. Okay. Now, let's start labeling things. I carry an umbrella. I'm going to call that U for umbrella. I could name it anything. I could use any letter I want. But to kind of make it easier to see, an umbrella, that's a U. And I stay dry. Let's make that D for dry. Again, you could choose anything you want. A's, B's, W's, doesn't matter. But if I'm going to make this dry, D, this stay dry is also D. And I will have nice clothes. Let's call that C. So can anyone tell me what you think my conclusion would be?
Therefore, I carry umbrella. Then I will have nice clothes.
Okay. I like that you've put all of the right parts in there. The umbrella is the first and nice clothes is the last. That's great. I need you to also put in an if then. So remember, it's if
Oh, okay.
then. Remember, because it's an arrow, right? You know, we got to have the
Yeah.
arrow part. And now you're right. You're going to put in the words umbrella, carry an umbrella and have nice clothes.
Yeah.
So those are the parts. You got to have the therefore. You got to have an if then. And then you've got the first and the last pieces. Okay? Michelle, that's right. It is you going to see. That's true. Now, when they give you a question in words, you want to give your answer in words. If they give you a problem in symbols, you want to give them an answer in symbols. It's kind of like the same idea. Like, if you're measuring something in like metric, you want to give an answer in metric. Same idea, or if somebody's talking degrees Celsius, you stay with degrees Celsius throughout the whole problem, right? You don't flip over to Fahrenheit. You know what I mean? So you're right, Michelle. That is exactly how we do it. Now, we just got to write it out in words. All right. Now, what if I played with the order a little bit? Maybe I'm going to make things a little different. Let's say if I have an umbrella, then I will stay dry. I'm going to stick with this problem, because it works. So this one sounds and looks a little different, right? Let's walk through it. If I have an umbrella, we'll make that U. Then I've got an arrow. I will stay dry, D. If it rains, well, I haven't seen rains yet in this problem, so I'm going to give it its own letter, rains. Then I will carry an umbrella. That's my U. So let's think about this. What am I going to write? What's my first word?
Therefore.
Therefore. What's the next word?
If.
Good. Now, if we look at these sentences, does it matter that, it doesn't look like it did before. Before we kept these, right? But these cancel out. That's the idea. These are going to cancel out. And I'm just going to be left with the beginning and the end. Does this make sense?
Excuse me, mister.
Yes.
Why do you cancel them out?
Well, because they kind of go in order. So, like, for example, you've got R going to U, and you see, and we also have U going to D, right?
Yes.
So we can put these together to turn them into R going to D. So if you think about it, which one of these things happens first? Rain happens first, right?
Yeah.
And just because you have an umbrella doesn't mean it begins raining, right? That doesn't make sense. So the idea is that this carrying an umbrella piece, that doesn't really mean anything. It's like we can skip it because we know that if it rains, you'll stay dry.
Yeah, because you have an umbrella already.
Yeah, because you have the umbrella. And you see, the idea is that we're kind of skipping over the umbrella and going from the first all the way to the last. So if it rains,
then I'll stay dry.
Then I will stay dry. Does that make sense?
Yes.
How do we feel on this, guys? Scale of 1 to 5. How we feeling? Lots of 4s and 5s. All right, that's cool. Now I'm gonna try and play with you a little, play with your brain a little bit on this one. Okay. All right. All right. Let's make some sentences. Let's make some symbols. Okay. If I build it, let's make that B for building it. Wait. Wait a second. Time out. I made a mistake. Didn't I? Hold on, guys. I have to change it. I'm sorry. I made a typo. Okay. All right. Let's scrap it. We'll do it again. I'm sorry, fellas. And ladies. I miswrote it. So. Darn it. This one. Okay. We're going to skip this one because I'll come back to it later. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, because that was an example that I do want to cover, but we'll do it in a minute. Okay. Everyone's kind of cool with syllogism, so we'll come back to it later when we add more to it. And let's go to the next law. Law of detachment. All right. Starts off the same way. And now we have the beginning again. Therefore, B. Go ahead and copy that. Okay. All right. Everyone got a copy? do some examples. All right. Detachment has an if-then and then it has the hypothesis. Do you remember the hypothesis was the first part of the if-then? The hypothesis is the one after the if, okay? So, if it is a tiger, then it is a cat. So that's your first sentence. As with the other one, our answer begins with the word what?
Therefore.
Therefore. So what's going on? I have, if I'm looking at a tiger, I am looking at a cat. Hey, I'm looking at a tiger. Therefore, what?
It's a cat.
It is a cat. That's it. And if you wanted to do it in symbols, therefore, C. It's really not that exciting. It's kind of boring, actually, because it doesn't really do much. It just says you're kind of repeating yourself. If you look at it in symbols, keep this by. In symbols, X goes to Y, X, therefore, Y.
Y.
If you look at this part says the exact same thing as this part, doesn't it?
Yes.
First, it's X, then it's Y. Here's an X, therefore Y. See what I mean? It's kind of boring. It's kind of saying the same thing all over again. It says it twice, just in a slightly different way. Okay. So how about what can we write?
Therefore C.
Well, remember, therefore is right. That's good.
Therefore, I'm in trouble.
Now, I'm giving it to you in words. You have to give it to me in words. Therefore, what?
It is broken.
We know that, right?
Therefore,
If it's broken, that's the same as doesn't work, right?
Yeah, right.
Every
So
time
I'm in
it's
trouble.
broken, then what happens?
I got in trouble.
I'm in trouble. End of story. That's really it. Okay, let's try one more.
Therefore, I will laugh.
Yeah, therefore I will laugh. End of. Does this make sense? Do we feel okay about this one? This one isn't too exciting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, kind of blah, whatever. Okay. Third one. Second. Okay, we're still good on time. All right. Law of the contrapositive. Now, A goes to B, not B, therefore not A.
Did they ever trick you? Like, make
Oh,
it not B?
oh, there are always ways of tricking people. Absolutely. But even with trying to trick you, all that they really can do is put like some of these together so that you're not just using one tool, but maybe you're using more than one tool. I mean, you've all taken SOLs before, right? And in an SOL, do they ever just say solve, right? It's always do this, do that, jump through a hoop, you know, whistle a tune, and then tell me what it is. You know, there's always like layer upon layer of difficulty, right? So once we get through these, this last one, then I'm going to start throwing them together. Okay? All right. So, I'll hold on to that. Contrapositive. So remember, the contrapositive is when you flip them around, right? So A normally would go to B, and then the contrapositive is not B goes to not A. And this, that's the contrapositive. We need to remember, because when we build this, we're going to see the not B part, and our answer is going to be not A. So example. Get one in here. If any ideas?
Therefore, it is not cold.
Yes. Where we have A, B, not B, therefore not A.
Excuse me, mister.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is always not A. Sometimes it
In
can
the
be not
contrapositive,
B.
yeah. Yeah. So like let's look at the way it's built. So we have A goes to B, not B, therefore not A. And if you look at this carefully, remember at the very beginning of all of this, we were talking about how the contrapositive was true. And the contrapositive says the same thing as the conditional. So this is the conditional. And that is the same thing as saying not B, not A, which is the contrapositive. You see what I mean? How this is basically,
Yeah.
and these two are the same. They're just
Yeah.
said in a different way, right? Good question. Thank you. All right. So let's break it up. If I am not tired, so let's say not tired, then I go out. Staying home, what would that look like in terms of these letters?
Not tired.
Well, staying home is more like, not going out, right?
Oh yeah.
So, according to the formula, we have a therefore. Therefore what? If you're
I will
staying
not go
home,
out.
what's that?
I will not go out.
Yeah, we know that you're not going out.
Therefore, I am tired.
Yeah, it's the first one, and then we negate it. And since you're already not tired, not tired is the positive, right?
Yes.
The double
tired.
negative. This is T. So the original was not T goes to O, not O, therefore T, because this is the contrapositive of that. You see, with the contrapositive, you switch them around and you change their signs. This negative became positive. This positive became negative. That's your contrapositive. What do you think?
Therefore,
It is not a
it is.
sack.
Hmm. So Z went to F, not F, therefore not Z. How do we feel about this one? Scale of 1 to 5. You can say it in a private chat. Okay. All right. Now, let's do this. I'm going to go back to the example that I had before. So let's look at them. If I build it, let's make that a B. Then it will work. That's a W. If they do not come, it did not work. So it's got 2 arrows on it. So what law does that lean you towards? Which one has 2 arrows? Guys, look at your laws and tell me which one has 2 arrows on it.
Logic.
Which law of logic? There's 3.
The first one. The one that says SYLL.
Yes, syllogism.
Syllogism.
Okay. Now, in order to use syllogism, I have to have, you see the 2 B's? Those have to cancel. Well, we don't have that in here, do we? Do we have something that's close?
Yes.
What do we have that's close?
The two
W and not
W's.
W.
The which one?
W and not W.
Yeah, we have a W and a not W. So can we maybe rewrite this sentence so that we do have a W, not a not W? How can I rewrite this so that it says the same idea, but looks different?
If I come, then it will work.
Well, that would, if I just drop my negatives, then I would have the inverse, right? And I'm not, and the inverse is a lie. How do I change it so that it stays true? What's another way of saying this sentence? Just think about that sentence.
Well, then you can make it positive, right?
How do I do that?
If they come, then it works.
But remember, we can't just throw away the negatives. What can we do though? Remember, we've been talking about it all day. How can I rewrite a sentence so that it says the same idea but looks different?
If it did not work, then they will not come.
That's the converse. That's just turning them around. Remember, you only have three choices: converse, inverse, contrapositive. Two of them are lies and one of them is true. Which one of them is true?
The contrapositive.
What's the contrapositive? You got to be able to write the contrapositive, guys. Can anybody tell me? To do the contrapositive, what do we have to do to the sentence? We got to do two things to it.
Flip it and then change the negative to positive or positive to negative.
Okay, so do that with this sentence.
So if it did work, then they will come.
Yes. And now works is W. So now we don't need the middle. Now we've got these two sentences. And now what can we do? What's my conclusion here?
Therefore, if I build it, then they will come.
Okay. We still have some time, but I'm gonna come back here and then we're gonna do one last one. This one is not true. This is a lie. There is no conclusion. All right. So this is one that doesn't work, and kids get caught and trapped by it all the time. And it's one of the ways that we can trick you. And I'm telling you that people fall for it every year. Don't fall for it. And I'm going to go into the example why. Okay. So let's do this. Think about that. What do you think? What do you want to write?
Therefore, it is Wednesday.
Is that true?
I guess.
Just because you went to school, does that mean it's Wednesday?
No, it can be Thursday maybe.
It could be any day, right? You know?
Yeah.
It could be a Saturday and you're dropping something off, right? You know? I mean, the point is that you cannot conclude that it's Wednesday. All you know is you went to school. You don't know what day it is. So you cannot do this. This is no conclusion. let's think about what that means though. So we had A goes to B. Oh, shouldn't have drawn my line there. A goes to B, B. And what kids want to say is that. But if you look at this, that's the converse, right?
Yes.
And isn't the converse a lie?
Yes.
So you cannot make this conclusion. Okay? No conclusion. Let's do one of those. One more of those. Oh, yes, I think that's what you were asking for. Okay. So can I make a conclusion here?
No, because they're
No.
the same.
Right. You're saying if it's a frog, then it's green.
Yes.
First of all, that's not always true. But just because it's green doesn't mean it's a frog. There's no conclusion. You can't go backwards, is basically what I'm saying. You know, if you're a frog, then you're green. Well, just because you're green doesn't mean that you can go backward and say that you're a frog. So yeah, you can't go backwards. You can't go backwards unless you're doing the law of contrapositive, because going backwards is, you know, you've negated it. You see? So you can go backwards in the contrapositive because you've negated it. But you can't go backwards without negating it. That's that converse thing, right? All right. So let's go to my Padlet. I'm gonna first of all take that, and I'm gonna share my screen so that we all can go to the Padlet. So everyone head on over to the Padlet and type in there really quickly how about this? Put in your name. So that I know who you are. Okay. Okay. So, um, what's your conclusion? And what law of logic is this, guys? I think you can make a conclusion. I'm not sure about that. That's correct. It is the law of detachment. And what conclusion can you draw? Ooh, you got the therefore sign in there. Awesome. Nice. Good. All right. Therefore, I go to class. How would I change this so that, and you can just say this out loud. If I wanted to make this a no conclusion, what would I delete here and put in its place? What could I say that's no conclusion? How do I change the problem so it becomes no conclusion? No conclusion.
I go to class.
Yeah, I went to class, right? If I
Yeah,
said I went to class or I go to class, now it's no conclusion because you can't be sure that it's time. You just went to class.
yes.
You know, I mean, maybe you were late. You know, maybe you went to the wrong class. You know, because it was the wrong time. Okay, good. All right. Um, I like it. It is the contrapositive. How do I write my answer? What's my conclusion? Aha. Somebody wrote my conclusion. Right. If it's not Jev, therefore it's not Fex. All right. Another not fixed, that's right. Okay, good. All right. So let's, sorry, Michelle, I didn't see that you were looking for the link. It was in the Padlet, sorry. All right, let's clear all the posts. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, there's a homework assignment on the Canvas page, and you guys are going to email your answers like you did with the last homework assignment, okay? I'll show you the, you're just gonna give me your A's, B's, C's, D's, whatever, in an email like you did last class. Has everyone been able, let's, right now in the last minute that we have, go to my dashboard, not the dashboard, the Canvas page, and look at Logic Day 3, that's your announcement, and download the PDF file. You guys are not gonna write on the PDF file. You don't have to do anything with it. You're just gonna write your answers in an email like you did last class, or last homework, okay? If you're missing some homeworks with me, people, please, please, please get them done immediately, because remember, you have a quiz coming up in 1 week, all right? Find me during my office hours if you need them. Absolutely, I'm here. That's why I'm there. So, yeah.
I can't do the geometry practice one.
Which one?
The first one.
Then find me during my office hours. We'll walk it through together.
Okay.
It's after school, any day after school. If you can come today, come today. I've got a couple people that are working on that assignment today. All right. If you've downloaded the homework, go ahead and put in the chat. Say what again, Nehemiah? You have a homework? You have a quiz next class, next week? You're going to put your answers to your homework in an email, and you're going to email it to me. Okay, so everyone should be going to my Canvas page and downloading the assignment. I'll show you where it is again. Take a look. Everyone goes to my Canvas page. Here's the Canvas page. This is what it looks like for you. Come on. Go to the Logic Day 3, and that PDF file is your homework. And you're just going to give me your A's, B's, C's, and D's, okay? I don't need you to write this. I don't need you to play with the PDF file. Just send me your answers, okay?
Okay.
If everybody's cool, go ahead and tell me how you feel about today's lesson. Scale of 1 to 5 in the private chat, and then you can go.
Bye, mister.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
See you later, Mr. Ronco.
Take it easy, man. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.
You too.
Subrat, I would prefer if you send your email in through the school email, not Gmail. Use your school email address. Okay?
Wait, what time is after school?
Right after your 6th or 7th block. So today will be right after 7th block. It's 2:50.
All right, thanks.
Sure, no problem.